Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and distinguished guests, it is my great honor to welcome you all to this significant gathering, the first general meeting of the Cost Action Connecting Landscape Architecture Archives. This initiative marks a crucial step in bridging the wealth of European landscape architecture archives with modern research, education, and practice. This project brings together experts from multiple disciplines: landscape architecture, cultural studies, art history, archival science, and information technology to create an accessible digital platform that will elevate archival management and cultural heritage preservation to the highest scientific and technical standards. Hosting this general meeting here in Budapest is a significant milestone, and on behalf of the Budapest City Archives and the Ormos Imre Foundation, we are deeply honored to have the opportunity to host this important event and to contribute to the advancement of landscape architecture archives across Europe. Some technical remarks. I would like to encourage you to feel free to reach out to our colleagues with any questions or requests during the event. And I'd like to ask you to please register at the registration desk if you haven't already. And we hope that throughout the conference program we can provide you with pleasant experiences and valuable new insights. Another technical information is that the plenary session is live streamed and available via our YouTube channel at Budapest City Archives YouTube channel. Colleagues are free to join the workshops via Zoom. Now, without further ado, let us officially begin our program by welcoming our esteemed speakers. First, I would like to invite Dr. István Kenyeres, General Director of the Budapest City Archives, to deliver his welcome address.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, welcome to the Budapest City Archives. It's a great pleasure for us to host the first general meeting of the Connecting Landscape Architecture Archives to enhance European landscape practice, research, and education project. Allow me to briefly introduce our institution, the Budapest City Archives, the second largest archives in Hungary and one of the largest city archives in Europe. The archives are maintained by the City Council of Budapest. We currently have 123 staff, of whom more than 60 are archivists. 70, sorry. We have 38 kilometers of archival materials and more than 22 million digital images. The archives have a conservation workshop, book boundary, digitization workshop, an electronic long-term archiving system, and we are able to receive born digital documents. Today it is possible for the public to register to the archives online, to request documents electronically for research, and to order archival documents digitally. The Budapest City Archives registers the largest number of researchers in Hungary, with more than 5,000 researchers visiting the institution every year. The archives make millions of pages of archival materials available free of charge on various platforms. The most important of these is the Hungaricana, sorry, this is the Hungarian pronunciation, collection portal. One of the initiators of one of the largest content providers of this Hungaricana portal is the Budapest City Archives, which currently has on this portal 30 databases with more than 1.7 million records and around 3.6 million digital images. Hungaricana is able to provide advanced services, georeferenced display of maps, geocoded publication of documents and photos, and other GIS systems as well, of which there are mainly examples on the portal. It provides fast search of content with metadata or character recognized type documents. Archival publication and various archives contents can be searched together with museum and library content. The use of our content in this portal is illustrated by the fact that an average of 1.5 million page views per year and more than 4,000 users per day have been recorded in recent years. The Budapest Time Machine, which was built on the basis of Hungaricana, launched in 2017, has gained considerable recognition across Europe in terms of innovation, design, and user experience, and can be used as a basis for further national and international projects. You can walk around the city in several time sections. The city maps are not only georeferenced, but also vectorized. A lot of data is made available for each plot of land, from the history of the plot, the land registry documents, the building plans, photos, the affairs of the inhabitants, mainly notary documents, but also the 1944 Jews census hidden behind the wall of an apartment in Budapest in 2015, which was a real-world sensation that it was discovered. Our archives not only have a rich collection of building plans and maps, but also a significant collection of garden and park designs. Based on these, we have created a number of exhibitions and published several publications. In recent years, however, the Budapest City Archives have received a number of documents in addition to the garden history material already had here, which justify referring to the Budapest City Archives as a landscape architecture archive. This is partly due to the growth of the collection, to the acquisition of several collections, and partly to the institution's core cultural mission, like culture and scientific activities publishing. The public park plans from before 1950 were acquired by our archives in 2014. These landscape architecture plans not only complemented the material already in the archives, mainly private park plans, but also gave a huge boost to research. In 2016, our archives published a monograph, was in English, on the park architecture of Budapest during the dualism period, that's mean in the second half of the 19th century. It also includes reproduction of the park designs that have been conserved in the meantime in our archives. The book was extremely well received, selling out in just few weeks, surprisingly. And the Hungarian edition was published last year in an unchanged reprint. In 2017 was the year of green spaces in our archives. The year saw the opening of the exhibition, The League at Once, which presented the history of Budapest's most important public park. Volume edited from the exhibition was published in 2021 and reprinted unchanged in last year. In 2017, the 6th Hungarian Conference on Urban History, organized by the City Archives, focused on the public gardens, and the presentation were published in the Archives Yearbook, the Orbs Hungarian Yearbook of Urban History series in 2019. As part of Archives' public education strategy, annual exhibitions are presented, of which Budapest, the city, and these bridges 2023 had spatial planning implications. Other landscape architecture-related papers were published in the recent volume of studies. In parallel to scientific and public culture activities, the materials held in the archives were enriched, processed, plans identified, described, conserved, digitized, and made searchable. In 2025, this year, we would like to publish the pre-1950 Budapest garden plans on this Hungaricana public collection portal, which will make the particularly valuable park plans of the period between 1819 and 1950 available georeferenced on the Budapest Time Machine. And this year, the Budapest 100 event will be built around the green spaces and community gardens of the capital, including the Contemporary Architecture Center, which has a long-standing collaboration with archives in the field of architectural history. In addition, there are guided tours and archive classes for interested groups, students of landscape architecture or architecture, urbanism, and this so-called Budapest 100 project volunteers. As can be seen from what has been said, as a 21st century service archives, the Budapest City Archives offer a range of service inside and outside the building in an online space. Our archive design material has been outstanding, and our landscape architecture collection is also a key asset which is a good basis for us to cooperate with you in this international project. I wish you a fruitful meeting and a pleasant stay in our institution. Thank you very much.
Next, we are privileged to hear from the Cost Action Chair, Ulrike Krippner, Senior Scientist at the Universität für Bodenkultur, Vienna. She has been a driving force in shaping this initiative and guiding its visions.
Hello, good morning, and a warm welcome to everyone on site here and remote on your devices. I'm very happy that this first general meeting takes place here in Budapest at the City Archives, Budapest City Archives. This is a great place. I had the chance to visit this archive last year in June when we had a teaching cooperation between BOKU in Vienna and the Mati University. So it's really a nice and exciting place for landscape architects and archivists. So it's a great place. Thank you to the archive and thank you to István Kenyeres, sorry, for your warm welcome. Thank you very much to Emese Kuhn for guiding us to this, through the morning. I want to thank Attila Brunner from the archive for organizing this meeting together with Katalin Takac. You will meet her later. Thank you very much. And this action is like there's more behind me, so thank you very much to the core group members, which you will meet today as well, and the Action Vice Chair, Maria Joao Fonseca, and the General Manager, Heidi Manza. So I will flip through, Before I come to the very brief introduction of the cost action, just an overview of today's schedule. This meeting is a workshop and it's dedicated to produce content. So it's a lot of working, almost all the time is dedicated to working in working groups. And there will be an introduction of the working groups after my brief introduction. So we will have breaks in between and workshop sessions, and after lunch a guided visit through the archive, and then continue with the working group sessions. So this brings me to the cost action, Connecting Landscape Architecture Archives to Enhance European Landscape Practice, Research and Education, which started last autumn and is, we will work 4 years, so until October 2028. The action challenge and the main aims are to enlarge and deepen the European network of landscape architecture archives and collections. Maybe many of you know already, so the application was part of this, or an achievement of this project, of this network group, and we are very happy that we were successful. We are all happy to enlarge this NELA network within this cost action to spread our visions and to share them and elaborate them. So it's about fostering cultural transfer, like cross-sectoral and cross-national correlations of landscape architecture. It's indeed to support capacity building among actors involved, and especially of how archives refine the European landscape architecture narrative. And it's about enhancing knowledge production through innovative education through archives. We have research coordination objectives, and these slides are illustrated by small images of archives. So here you can see a picture from SIVA in Brussels. So we will get to know these archives to really deep in it, look for best practices, exchange our experience, and elaborate on that. So it's about increasing knowledge on existing landscape architecture archives in Europe, to develop innovative archival management tools, to create innovative archiving tools and communication skills that are what we who are managing archives are dealing with or responsible for. It's to improve competitiveness of landscape architecture history research through working with archival documents. And that comes to the next point, to increase the use of archival materials in landscape architecture design practice as well as in teaching them. We want to set up policies, standards, and we want to encourage and support the implementation of more landscape architecture archives. And this brings me to my last slide. The objectives concerning capacity building. You know that one of the working groups is dedicated to education. So we want to enhance landscape architecture education, incorporate archives in teaching and research. We want to enhance the knowledge exchange and co-creation between researchers, scholars, practitioners, everyone involved, archivists, landscape architects, no matter from what discipline they come, but among those who have a strong focus on the topic. We want to strengthen the competence of the next generation of professionals and research leaders, so we strive to include young researchers and increase their and we want to increase the competence of inclusive targetedness country researchers and practitioners for landscape architecture archives. So, as I've already said, the 2 days they are focusing on working in the working groups and producing content. We have already started. Working Group 1 had already one online meeting 2 weeks ago, right? Is that, Anna? Yeah. But yeah, we will go step by step, and this general meeting is really a very important step. And that's why I hand over to the working group leaders. And first is Working Group 1, Hanna Sorsa-Soté and Katalin Takac, who are going to present the working group. Thanks.
Good morning to everybody. So I'm Hanna Sorsa-Soté from Versailles, France, and I'm Working Group 1 leader, which is the transfer archival knowledge to support landscape architecture archive management and operations. And Katalin Takac is vice leader, co-leader for this working group. So for this whole 4 years, we have the main goals for Working Group 1 is to compile and standardize knowledge on existing landscape architecture archives in Europe, and also accelerate the development of innovative archiving tools and communication skills. And we have for task to promote the adaptation of archival standards and approaches in landscape architecture, initiate the discussion of archival science, and encourage a common dialogue between archivists and the field of landscape architecture. So for this 4 years, we have the common aims, so to inventory existing archives, also identify the innovative archival approaches and operations to be replicated, and develop a manual on best practices, which are also the fruit of these 2 first aims, and also develop a manual for donors. So that's going to provide some guidelines and instructions how to do it, and help the producers, and also exchange know-how on digital technologies and related challenges in their archival management. So this is for 4 years. So in this first year task, we have 2. So we are going to start the inventory on existing archives, so we need help of each of you. And the outcome is going to be the state of art of current situation and hopefully a database. And the second task is to identify the innovative archival approaches and operations. So to develop the innovative archiving tools and communication skills, we are going to organize the learning visits on these best practices and workshops. And this is going to help us to develop this manual for the best practices and for the donors. Thank you, and see you later.
Hello everyone, my name is Alexandru Mexi and I'm coordinating the second working group together with Anna Staniewska, my colleague from Poland. And I guess that all of you here and online have used archives in research and practice and and you know how complicated, how complex, and yet how rewarding it is to find the information you're looking for. Or information you're not looking for, but still very interesting in your work. So to this end, this working group, the second one is focusing on the ways to enhance the use of landscape architecture archives for research and practice by deepening the network. Its main aim is to enhance European competitiveness in landscape architecture, history, research, and design practice, by improving the accessibility and usability of archival materials and primary sources. And the outputs are to facilitate archival research and encourage the use of archives in landscape architecture practice for new design, site renovation, conservation, interdisciplinary approaches with other fields, integrating landscape architecture and design history into architectural history dialogues, and situating this within a broader historical context. And our main tasks are going to be to map the topics in the current academic discourse on landscape architecture history related to archives, identify knowledge gaps where further research is needed to enhance both landscape architecture history and archives, conduct at least 4, maybe even more, case studies on the use of landscape architecture archives in practice in regional clusters, map, and this is very important, map the user's needs, experiences, and expectations of landscape architecture archives and archival repositories with regard to accessibility, operation, and information. And last but not least, to co-create new ways to benefit from archives in landscape architecture practice.
Hello, my name is Marlies Brinkhuizen, and I'm one of the working group leaders of the working group Education together with Leigau from Norway. Let's see, where's the button? The aims of working group 3 Education is to support higher education through the use of archives as tools and source of knowledge, and to promote the co-creation and knowledge exchange between universities, because altogether we have a lot of knowledge of how to use archives in our teaching. Our task for the coming 4 years are to map the current use of archives in higher education, the tools and methods that we use in teaching, to identify the needs and wishes of students and teachers, to elaborate on that, to co-develop innovative ways of teaching with archival materials, so create new ways of using archives. And all this will come together in a teacher training and an online course on the use of archival materials in teaching. This year, we try to focus on an inventory of the current use of archives, the tools and methods we used. We already set out a survey that was well responded with the first inventory, and we will elaborate on that in a workshop tomorrow, two workshops tomorrow, and we will also have regional workshops later on. The outcome of this year will be a catalogue of didactic methods and tools for using archives in teaching, so the state of the art. As said, the survey is already done. We have the workshop here in Budapest. Before summer, we would like to organize some regional workshops to further the outcomes of this workshop. There will be a workshop in Nitra at the A-class conference, and all the material will be collected in the catalogue. That is it.
So, good morning, everyone. This is Working Group 4 on Communication and Dissemination. You see 3 names here. That's just a short explanation. We would like to introduce ourselves. It's Ursula Wieser-Benedetti, who is co-leader of Working Group 4 and also the social media coordinator. So you will meet us at the workshops. Me, I'm Attila Tot, working with Ursula together on Working Group 4. And I would like to use the opportunity also to introduce Bianca Maria Rinaldi. She's the Science Communication Coordinator, and she's responsible for the entire action communication. So there will be a close cooperation between Working Group 4 and the Science Communication Coordinator. And do we switch? Okay.
So yeah, we have a communication group. I guess we're the fun people, hopefully. And we are here to best communicate your contents. So we're really here for you. We're really looking forward to a fruitful exchange. We're also, of course, going to be navigating between all the groups to understand your needs, your goals, your endeavors, your ideas, your dreams. And we're here to best communicate your contents to different target audiences. So we'll see that one of the main aims is also to identify target audiences and see how we best cater for each type of audience. So, as in every realm of communication, successful and impactful communication needs branding. Branding, it's telling a beautiful story. It's creating an impactful and powerful logo that evokes things, that suggests kind of the values of our action, and also to get through the key messages of our action. So what is our philosophy, what is our endeavor, and what are our values? And I think already in the Memorandum of Understanding we see there's a lot of values to be communicated here. So one of the aims will be really to see how we can synthesize this and make this into short key messages that are impactful. So, as I said, key messages, target audiences, but also goals to attain. When I say goals to attain, of course, it's the goals that are listed in the Memorandum of Understanding that you've certainly already flicked through, but also as an action is a plastic thing, something that evolves over time, something where ideas arise. So it will also be identifying maybe new goals along the action, and we're here to respond to these ideas and turn them into something that reaches the audiences we need to reach.
Okay, so the Memorandum of Understanding defines some of the key goals, what Working Group 4 needs to achieve. That's certainly the website. So Working Group 4 will be working on the website development, talk about things, what needs to be communicated, how and to whom. What are the actions, key messages and philosophy? We would like to showcase archive centers throughout Europe and also the multilingual glossary, a mapping tool, policy recommendations and database for working group output. So the website will be the main communication tool of the cost action. So that's a very important task of Working Group 4, but it's a joint task for all the 4 working groups actually. This working group will try to support the whole action with dissemination of action results in different forms and formats. This includes written reports, academic publications, conference presentations, print and online media and online exhibition. So we will try to develop or together come up with ideas how to best communicate the outcomes and how to best disseminate the results of the action.
So, as I said in the intro, to efficiently communicate, we need you. We need you so that we can give visibility to your work. And so concretely, and this is why we're presenting this in the plenary session, we will need 1 or more liaison persons for each group that will be in permanent contact with us, so that there is a back and forth feeding and retrofeeding. You will need to communicate your working group's deliverable and time schedules to us so that we can make up a time schedule for the first year and also beyond. And please remember that during the whole length of the action, every single person, every single one of us is an ambassador of the action. So wherever we go, wherever we are, however we are, we're always there to sort of as a sort of representative of this beautiful action. And the aim, as you know, is to reach, of course, researchers, practitioners, stakeholders, but on a larger level also policymakers and members of European Parliament, because maybe eventually if we really go forward and make this action successful, this could also encourage and support the creation of new archive centers in Europe and beyond. And so let's aim at an ambitious goal.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to collaborating. We're here, you see us. If you have ideas and suggestions, you can come to us anytime. We're very happy to engage.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your inspiring and informative presentations. It's always fascinating to see how professionals from different fields approach our archival material and archives in general. So this gathering promises to be an enlightening and collaborative journey. Welcome everyone to Budapest and welcome to our conference. And last but not least, we will have the pleasure of hearing Ágnes Telek and Attila Brunner, who will present the ongoing work within Budapest City Archives.
Good morning, everyone. Okay. I was afraid that I can't find it by myself, and it turned out that, yes, I wouldn't. So, hello, everyone. It's my duty to introduce you to our beautiful institution, the Budapest City Archives. Of course, you already know much about archival institutions, so I wouldn't like to, get lost in the numbers, but I would like to show you around our cultural and creative projects, what we're working on. So in this archive, we are not only storing and servicing our materials, but we are also organizing exhibitions, we are publishing books, we are organizing conferences, we have lots of public events, just as the Nights of the Museums, or we participating at the Researchers' Nights, which is quite European event, of course, and we also have our own public event, which is called the Levéltári Picnic, and this is also for a very wide audience of citizens. We also have beautiful digital platforms, which I will just show you in a minute, and we have international, cultural and creative projects collaborations as well. So our digital platforms are created to serve also professional, but also average users. So we are sharing digitized documents on these, and of course these platforms are serving as a surface of administration, the registries, the databases available through these sites. So I just very quickly, show you these sites. One is for the registration, where the researchers also send the requests for our documents to have a quick look through in the research room. And the Hungaricana is one of our most popular and of course the hugest joint database in Hungary. Of course, it's not only our platform. Many Hungarian cultural institutions sharing their materials through this surface. The Hungarian GLAM sector, we can say, so the galleries, libraries, archives and museums sharing their material on this site. So here you can find also the Budapest Time Machine, which we are very proud of. This is mostly empowered by our material from the Budapest City Archive. Also the whole Hungaricana, we have a lot of materials already to share. So please, if you type in the Budapest Time Machine just into the Google, you will find this surface and you can get lost in it. I try not to do that now, but you can switch on the data sets, which leads us to the lot numbers, which leads us to all the materials that we already have digitized and georeferenced, shared on this surface. And of course, we are also the part of the big Time Machine project, which collaborates like more than 700 members from across Europe, and not only from Europe. So we are all working on to collect the big data of the past to the future of Europe. This is our motto. I'm sure you already have heard about this project as well. And one project we are also very proud of, just closed last year, this called the City Memories. We had a little bit smaller collaboration than yours. We were 3 of us in this project, the Stockholm City Archives, Copenhagen City Archives, and our institution. And it took around 1.5 and 2 years long, and we had held 3 personal meetings in each and every city to visit each other's collection and to meet our possibilities and also our limits and each other's associated partners. The project itself focused on the architectural archives of each institutions. So we were trying to put the architectural records and drawings much more in the spotlight and to find new usages and new users, new ways to showcase our drawings from the institution. So we had 2 associated partners within this project. One of them was the Ebel Architecture Faculty. They are creating beautiful 3-dimensional building reconstructions based on our architectural drawings. I think this is quite unique because anytime I meet a 3D model in the cultural heritage field, they are always scanned or reconstructed from the present state of the building, but those students and their teachers created these 3D models from the drawings. You can check these also on the time machine surface, on the surface of the time machine. And we also had a collaboration, we still have a collaboration, actually for a quite long time, with the Budapest 100. This is an open house, so to say, public event organized by an NGO called the Contemporary Architecture Center, and they are making research in public institutions, just as ours. Of course, we are one of the base for building history, for urban history, and for social history. So they are visiting our collection each and every year, and they're making researches about the buildings, and they create data sheets of the buildings. And in exchange that we are offering them our materials, we are receiving their digital born documents to share through our surfaces, through the archive. And the deliverables of this project were best practice guides, which are available through our website, the 3D models, which I already mentioned, and the building data sheets from the Budapest 100. And this was our beautiful visual. And last but not least, only just some hints of the wider, so to say, creative projects, what we are approaching. So we had the chance to collaborate with a short film called 1939, Open the Door, which is shooted in a villa on the Buda Hills. It has quite a historical and a little bit of a detective story. I think it's fascinating, and also a VR content is created connected to this one. We also have the Lost Budapest, which I'm afraid I don't have the time to show, but if you also Google for it, you can find a beautiful video on YouTube as well. A group of very enthusiastic volunteers just started to reconstruct the 30s of Budapest, and they have already created most of the downtown already. We are trying to help them as well with some drawings and other archival materials. Here is another time frame which has been already started to reconstruct with another group of enthusiast researchers, and we probably have a collaboration with the Window to the Past from Jena University by David Komorowicz. He's creating point cloud models of the buildings. And I leave the floor to Attila. Thank you.
So hello everyone. I'm going to talk about the landscape architecture collections of the Budapest City Archives, but as documents related to landscape architecture can be found in any sort of public collection, the name Landscape Architecture Archive cannot be narrowed down to a specialist institution, at least in Hungary. On quite the contrary, the term inclusively applies for any public collection that preserves relevant documents to this topic, and in the next few minutes I will try to introduce the Budapest City Archives, and which we will abbreviate it as BCA in this particular role. BCA is not alone in the city as a landscape architecture archive. Many public collections preserve important garden history documents, such as the Christian Heinrich Nebian plans in the Kiszel Museum of the Budapest History Museum, or we can mention the map collection of the National Széchenyi Library as well. and the Historical Garden Service of the Hungarian Architectural Museum and Documentation Center for Monument Protection. This long name was once institute. And we can also mention the map collections of the Hungarian National Archives and, of course, the Ernst Ferenc Library and Archives. We can also mention the historical maps of the 18th and 19th century books in the Budapest collection of the Szabó Ervin Metropolitan Library and many other smaller public collections that preserve photographs and so-called ego documents, for example, reminiscences, diaries, or some kind of correspondence. Here we can see plans for the Stadtwäldchen, the Városliget, the city park, which was the first city park in Budapest. A plan from the Hungarian National Archives, which was identified as a design by Peter József Lenné. And here we can show in the etching from Nebien's plan. It can be found in the Kiszczál Museum. We have a similar design in our collection, but this design is made for entirely another reason. It shows the first railway in Hungary, which crossed the city park. Budapest City Archives stands out with the sheer quantity of garden plans. As it is a general and city archive, an institution maintained by the capital city, it is not a specialist archive, but in recent years several units of documents have been added to the relevant material which is already kept here. We can also say that its importance in this regard has increased over the last decade and a half, and as the General Director has already pointed out, several books were published and several bequests came here, and that's why we are here in this project. The public park plans for the capital city created before 1950 came to archival preservation on quite an adventurous route about 10 years ago, and they gave research a huge impetus. As public archives, the Budapest City Archives preserves primarily the documents of public administration. Landscape architecture, however, is not obligated to be processed by authorities, so a garden plan, public or private, is usually not included in the machinery of public administration, and we can say its chances to survive are minimal. Despite this, the documents of this kind of designing activity are evidently records of permanent value, which obliges us to collect and preserve them. They are also collected for the purpose of researching the capital's history from a complex perspective. Searching for records having archival value and keeping records of organizations that minister public duties are among the daily basic tasks of archival work. Historical research regarding any organization is essential for the preparation of further document acceptances, on-site inspections, and making newly received documents fit in the archival system. During the archival processing, the international standard called the General International Standard Archival Description is used. The fundamental units of descriptions are fonds and subfonds. Finding aids also help us. They indicate specific data, for example, the reference codes, name of the units of descriptions, and the time period when it was created. The form used for a finding aid also contains data referencing geolocation, the plot number, the address, and other significant data as well, such as the names of the designer, the commissioner, and we can register the type of the map. For example, is it a sketch, is it an execution plan, or something else? We can register other indicators as well. For example, the indicators of physical appearance and is it a digital born, is it an etching, or is it a watercolor, for example. And in the remaining time, I will focus on the specific collections in the Budapest City Archives. First of all, the historical map collection. This collection dates back to the 18th century. We can now see a general overview of the city from the end of the 19th century. We can observe how much greenery was available at that time. It is worth, though, noting that the oldest city park is indicated as an area for construction in the middle map. We can see that. And after 1950, we can see the effects of the second unification when the surrounding municipalities were merged into the capital. That's why the the size of the city doubled, and that affected as well the percentage of green spaces as well to the positive. Most research conducted in the archives concern the collection of architectural plans, which dates back also to the end of the 18th century. Sometimes the whole building process can be reconstructed. This collection, as you can see, has aesthetic value as well. And this is a special, for me, the drawings made for the Budapest Zoo, a gem of Hungarian Art Nouveau, or rather a Hungarian national romanticism style from the beginning of the 20th century. These drawings show the significant green spaces, as it is a kind of a special garden, a garden for keeping animals. We can also note that our plan collection preserves blueprints for other towns as well. In this case, we can see the center of Szolnok and the project plan for the cemetery of Szeged, two major Hungarian towns. And sometimes an ideal plan or a design was simply registered as a map. It's an issue in other public collections as well. And this plan on the left was made for the first Volksgarten in Budapest, but it was realized only 20 years later. And it was registered as a map, despite that this state never existed. The most significant unit in our collection is the one of the Municipal Gardening Directorate. This organization was responsible for greenering the cityscape. It was part of the city administration itself up until the communist era. It was reorganized several times, but its head figures designed the most significant public gardens, and this was the era of the so-called flowered Budapest. We can see how the drawing style changed over time and how the designers thought of the city as a sort of an organism. This unit also preserves garden plans from the interwar period, which is quite a unique source. I can mention László Solty's private garden plans, which is his private bequest, but somehow it was collected from the directorate. And these are the plans for Solty. The 1950s, so the middle of the 20th century, was a sad era. It was a time of total reshaping the country. After the destruction of the war, almost every public space needed to be rebuilt, and of course according to the will of the state party. For example, gardens must have shown the red stars. I will not show this. Only after the softening of the communist regime, the ideologically designed gardens were also reshaped. In the 1970s, many progressive landscape architects worked mainly at the Municipal Gardening Company, also called as the Fővárosi Kertészeti Vállalat in Hungarian. Leading experts of the era revitalized the city park and also revitalized the Hajógyári Sziget, which now serves as the location of the famous Sziget Festival. We can see the designs for the garden designed specially for the blind people, which was the third, so an early example for a design for the visually impaired people from the beginning of the 1970s. There were, of course, other state companies which designed green spaces. For instance, the Budapest Urban Planning Company, Hungarian the Buvati, a városépítési tervezővállalat, which was responsible for the general urban plan of the capital. And we can also mention the Municipal Funeral Institution as well, which produced plans for shaping and designing cemeteries. One can find garden plans in family or individual private documents as well. For example, the Manno Family Archives preserves mid-19th century garden plans that indicate playgrounds, which is quite a unique source. And the Budapest City Archives also preserve the bequests of landscape architects Veronika Csorba, Ágnes Horányi, András Petrakovics Perjés, and also two gardeners, Károly Fonod and László Pesti. And at the end of my presentation, here is a short list of units that are relevant in landscape architecture history. I have tried to collect all units in this chart. We can see the extents and the reference codes as well, and I've also tried to estimate their importance in research and how much they are processed. It is only a draft, but we can see already that where we have a database, citation tends to be much higher. I emphasize we cannot measure citation properly. It is just an assumption, though, and it requires further work, and I'm looking forward to working with you. And thank you for your attention. That was the end of my presentation.
Thank you to all our colleagues for these truly colorful presentations. We hope we could give you an overview and an insight to our work and collection. As we conclude this plenary session, I would like to provide you with an overview of the next steps in our program. The upcoming session will continue with two parallel working group meetings, allowing for more focused discussion on specific aspects of our initiative. One working group will take place here in the main auditorium, while the other will be on the 5th floor. Everyone can find their assigned group and location in the handout materials. Following this, we invite you to join us for lunch at 12:30 in the foyer outside the lecture hall. And in the afternoon, we have organized a series of behind-the-scenes guided building tours, where you will visit the repositories of the archives and the conservation workshops, which will take place in 3 parallel groups, starting at 1:15, 2 tours in English and 1 in German. And after the tours, we will continue with 2 parallel workshop sessions. At 4:30, we will reconvene here in the main lecture hall for a closing reflection session where we will summarize the day's key takeaways. Tomorrow, our program will continue with 2 more parallel workshops here in Budapest City Archives. We are looking forward to see these two productive and inspiring days together, and I'd like to invite you for a 15-minute coffee break. Thank you very much.
Just a minute, please. As you can see on the schedule, we are a lot faster in the schedule. And if it's like technical possible for those who join us remote, I would suggest to start maybe earlier with the working groups and have a longer lunch break, like start at 10:30. Is this manageable? At 11. Okay. Okay. So do we have time for exchange then? but maybe for what we expect you for the working group. As you see in the schedule, there is 2 time slots today and 2 tomorrow. And as you have learned, or you have already known before, we have 4 working groups. And you were asked to sign in for 1 or 2 working groups. Today and tomorrow, we want you to participate in more than your specific working group, give you the chance to get an insight of the aims and goals of each working group. We want to collect like a larger experience than just the one who have signed in for the working groups. So that's why we have parallel working groups, workshops. Maybe we want like to have a balance of participants, and maybe we can check that now for today, because today we have working group 2. They have like an elaborated setting. They have 2 time slots, and today, and in parallel there is working group 4 and working group 1. I don't know, is that clear somehow? So I would like to split you up now, so that we then, after coffee break, can move up to the rooms very quickly. Yeah. We need to form into 2 groups. One group is going to join working group 4 in the morning and working group 1 in the afternoon, and the other one is joining working group 2, both sessions. I don't know, that's part of the... I hand that over. This is organized by the working group leaders.
We would like to request that all of you who are going to join the first part of the working group session to upload on Google Drive link that was sent to everyone relevant historical document that was important for your research or practice. Just one, because we want to have a discussion based on this set of documents. And we will have this discussion in the first part of our working group. In the second part, in the afternoon, we will have other discussions. So whoever wants to join the first part, we'd like to ask you to upload the documents. So this is the homework.
So, but how can we split now? Do you want to have them stay over to both parts?
It would be best this way, but for those of you who'd like to participate in the first part, we'd really like to have this document. For the ones who would like to participate in the afternoon, it's not necessary. Is that clear?
Huh?
There will be workshops for group 1 and 4 tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe at least we decide on one. Yeah. So. So, but should have a look that it's like balanced, so that we have half of the group goes to working group 2, and the other one goes to working group 4. Who is going to working group 4 in the morning? Hands up, please. 4. Okay, I think that's almost equal. Okay, so then we stick to start at 11, but please move up to the rooms or go to your rooms 10 minutes before 11. Yeah? We have plenty of time. Here is working group 4. Okay? Okay. So again, 2 here, and please come here 5 to 10 minutes before 11 so that we can start at 11. And working group 4 is in the 5th floor. Okay? Same.